Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. So get your drink, pull up. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel where we just talk about food preservation. We talk about preparedness, emergency preparedness, how to prepare for different emergency life crisis. Today, we're having more of a discussion. We are going to talk about some stuff to prepare, how to prepare, but I'm just going to go out there and talk about it. For anybody that watches football, that's caught the news this morning, maybe know what's going on with this young gentleman, young NFL player, Damar Hamlin, who basically plays football. And during last night's football game, he had a cardiac arrest. So basically took a hit, not a crazy hit, fell down, got up, fell down again. And young man needed CPR, needed the AED, right? And what's crazy about this is that, so we're a football family, we watch football. When I say we watch football, we watch, first of all of us have a different team that we follow. We watch every single NFL game, not so much college, but we watch football in this family. Unless we're somewhere, we're at church, something like that, we're watching football. And never have I ever seen anything that happened last night. Do concussions happen? Absolutely. Do all types of injuries, crazy stuff, wild stuff happens? Absolutely. People get very hurt. It's a very violent game, okay? And so bad stuff happens. And that group of football players to play football typically have been playing that since they were little boys. And they just have grown up knowing that it's dangerous, that bad things could happen to you. There's several times that young men don't come back to the game after said injury, right? Or said concussion or said whatever, right? Bad things do happen, right? But to take a young man who's like 24 or something, he's like 24, 25, something like that, and cardiac arrest, no pulse, like that's for real now. That's not, oh, he's got a concussion, he passed out a little bit, okay, now he's come to. Okay, yes, they take him, have players been taken off in an ambulance or take him off in a cart, absolutely. But to be on a field for 15 minutes while the world watches you get CPR and AED, trying to get a pulse, trying to get you to breathe on your own, that's a lot. That's something that we've never seen. Those players haven't seen. If you talk about the olds, the greats, they haven't seen that stuff happen before. And so that happened last night, right? And then we wake up this morning, and of course, hubby, he always turns on sports news first, anything. That's his thing, right? I usually get some coffee going. We take care of the animals. He gets his sports news going. And of course, this is still on the TV. And right now, this young man is in critical condition. He went there in the ambulance last night, and he's currently sedated and has a feeding tube. Obviously with sedation, don't know if he's actually breathing on his own or anything like that, but he's in critical care, and nobody knows what's going on. Like, they stopped the game. That doesn't happen, you guys. Usually people get hurt, the game goes on, right? They compose themselves and the game goes on because they're used to it. That's what happens. People get hurt and life goes on. But this was something different. Those team players, those people, I don't know if you were watching, but they were distraught, right? There was no going back to playing football after something like this, after watching something like this happen to somebody that you love, that's your friends, that's family to some of those young men, right? And so the game stopped, right? And as of right now, we have no idea what's going to happen. And I know some of you watch me are like, Tosh, what does this have to even do with preparedness, with being ready, with, it sounds like you're talking about football. Like, we don't even watch football. We don't care about football. Well, baby, I woke up this morning and my first thought was this young man vaccinated? Now, before I say anything more, I want to be very, very, very clear that there's to be no division on this channel. This isn't a dig. This isn't a let's divide the people, or this isn't a finger pointing. You got vaxxed, you didn't. This is not any of that. So please keep that stuff far away. I don't want to see no nasty stuff in the comments, okay? This is not saying anything. We're past that, okay? People have a choice in life, and people are going to do what they want to do, and you're going to continue to be respectful and let them do it. So those who got it, didn't get it, it doesn't matter, because what we're talking about is death. We're talking about that this is not over, that people are dying all the time around us, dying suddenly. And it's going to affect you, because it's going to touch you and those you know. If it hasn't already, it's going to. And so you have to understand that we are now seeing statistically that there is stuff happening. There's side effects happening. There's things happening. People are not well, okay? And it is caused by this, right? By this thing that was told to the people, take this, it's safe, and you'll be okay. Right? And maybe that was a good thing for some people. It possibly saved lives, right? But the outcome is, and the facts are now that are coming out, is that it's killing some people. It's causing cancers. It's causing effects on our bodies. It's causing things, right? It's causing SADS. It's causing blood clots, cancers, reproductive stuff. You name it. It's causing some of this stuff. And so I don't say that to be like, how dare you? No. I'm saying that is like, okay, how do you, everything is a teachable moment. Like, how do we move on from this as a people? Well, I think number one is you continue to know that death is happening. This is about to be the year of death. This year, the next year, because we really don't know when this thing is going to plateau. We don't know how long it's going to take. Nothing is truly 100% being documented, right? So statistics are coming in, but they're probably slow. They're probably not accurate, right? Because all over the world, folks are dying from various things. Well, they died from a heart attack, cardiac arrest. They died from this blood clot that they got. They died from this cancer. Well, who are you to say they wouldn't have had the cancer anyway, right? We're not, because we're not God. We're not anybody. All we can go on is that there is a fact that there is an increase in died suddenly type cases since this thing happened. And that is being connected together in the realm of, this is the side effects. This is what happens when you push something so hard to your people that has not actually been tested. Real testing takes years, you guys. It takes years. And you do it on various people. And they did that in a very scrunched amount of time, right? It was not done in a way because people were so panicked and we weren't ready, and we were acting reactive. And it was just go. Let's see how fast we can get this done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. People are dying. Oh my gosh. But when you rush stuff, bad stuff can happen. And now bad stuff's happening. So the number one thing is prepare to see more death. Period. It's not going away. Every single time I open up the phone, news feed, 5 new deaths, all different ages, right? Even the old ones are like cancer. And I'm like, okay, well, they probably could have already had cancer possibly, right? Cancer happened before COVID, right? But it's just crazy to me, okay? Second thing you can do, and please, this is not shade. This is not shade in any way. And we as a family have done this, have had these conversations. If you are younger and you did decide to do that, that was your choice and you did that, I think that it's very important to not put off preparing for death in the way of paperwork, getting your will done, making sure people know what your thoughts and hopes and dreams are of what is to be done with you afterwards. What happens to your children? What happens to your home? What happens to your belongings? What happens? Who's supposed to take care of the children? Those things need to be, because what happens is when you're young, you don't think about death. When you're young, you don't think about death. You don't think about these things, right? Unless something's happened that makes you be like, man, I better be ready, right? I think it's important that this really is a life skill that everybody should be doing, no matter what your age is. If you do not have your will, you do not have your intentions known, do you want to be buried? Do you want to be cremated? Where does that happen at? Is there money set aside for this? You know, what happens to the children? All the time folks die and there's no plan for children. Where are children supposed to go? Then fights ensue. What's supposed to happen to the house? Then fights ensue. I mean, money is the core evil of all things, right? It's one of the reasons why I hate death, because it brings out some of the ugliness and the most evilness out of people, because money's involved. But get your stuff in order. And I'm not saying this like, oh, you took it, you're going to die. No, we do this for us. I am not, children are not, but hubby is. Hubby wasn't quite that lucky because he was in the military. I was able to scoot out, right, and retire, right? And he wasn't. His timelines didn't work out. He had to deploy and he had to take it. And come to find out, guess what? 30 days later, he had a blood clot. However, that blood clot being found is what then allowed them to find the kidney cancer that he had developed. And the kidney cancer was new. They could tell, because if you know anything about cancers, kidney cancer is a super invasive and super fast, right? And so if they would not have caught that, he would have died, and it would have been soon. It wouldn't have been years and years while this cancer grew, right? Multiple chances on yearly visits to catch it, right? So in our case, you know, we trust in God, and we trust that was supposed to happen. He got that, which then did give him a blood clot, which then did show something else. Maybe it gave him the blood clot and the cancer. Who knows? Okay. But that happened within 30 days. Okay. Of his second shot. So this stuff is happening. I'm not saying this like some kind of like, how dare you did this? You know, my husband did this. Right? But we're dealing with it. And of course we prepare, we have wills, all this stuff, but we've revisited this stuff. Let's really make sure that we have all our ducks in a row. Let's really make sure that we have everything the same as it was before. Everything is ready to go. And we really think about this. And we do the same for me. I didn't have it, but you should do. This is something you should do. So you need to get on the ball and make sure that you have these things ready to go for people. And unfortunately, anybody who did take it, I would say it's more important for you to do this, because the stats are showing that something could unfortunately happen. The next thing I'm saying is that if you did, and again, this is a life skill that everybody should be doing, but I'm telling you that if it's me and I was learning what I'm learning now, and I had taken it, and again, we do this for hubby, do not miss anything. Do not miss any kind of medical appointments, any kind of checkups, any kind of screenings, CTs. Get all your screenings, your annual screenings, your age appropriate screenings, right? Like you turn a certain age, you're supposed to get a certain screening. Do not miss those, right? All the cancer screenings, do not miss those. Go in, if you've never had any kind of cancer screening, go in and do that, right? Men and women. Chrissy Alley, right? Colon cancer, quick, just got it, then boom, died, right? No time. Right. And it's like, she was older. How did she not have colon check for colon cancer, you know, in her, I don't know, above 50 ages. Right. But the thing is we don't know her medical history. Maybe she did. Right. So this is what I'm saying is keep up on your stuff. Do not slip on this, especially if you have taken something. But again, it's a life skill. Everybody should be doing this. And I think it's important, because let me tell you, this stuff's not going away. More pandemics are going to come. More bad stuff's going to come. More decisions are going to come, you know, and you have to trust in God. And a lot of that is we trust in God. I trust in discernment. I'm going to trust him. He's going to tell me if I'm supposed to be doing something or not. And as other things happen in life and other things happen, other things are offered, vaccines, whatever, I will go with discernment on what I'm supposed to do, right? That is real, okay? To be honest, even though I feel the way I do about the vaccine, my husband might not be here right now if he had not gotten his, okay? Or maybe none of that would have happened had he not gotten it. So again, you don't know what's what. It's God, and whatever's going to happen is God. But you have to ask for discernment to make sure that hopefully you're making the best decisions possible for you and your family. Okay. Another thing I learned with the whole situation last night is it made me want to up my medical game, right? Many years ago, probably like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was doing a basic CPR renewal type class in the military. Time to get the card updated. You got to go to this class. Okay, cool. Regular CPR class, no big deal. You know, you spend half a day with a mannequin, and you do all your things. But in that class, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, man, I need an AED. And last night, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I need an AED. Why do we not have an AED in our medical preps? Why do we not have that yet, right? And so for me, it was a teachable moment, and what is needed, right? You're not going to have maybe, tons of, canisters of oxygen and all this stuff, right? So it's important to learn CPR if you do not know CPR, right? Get refreshed if you haven't gone for years and years and years. AED, to me, that goes on the list of expensive preps because that's $1,500, $1,900 to $2,500. That's expensive, right? But I think it's a no-brainer. It's something that has to go on that wish list, on that preparedness wish list that you work towards. If you are an envelope gal like me, start an envelope for the AED and put a couple bucks in there from time to time. You got to get the AED. Got to get the hand, breathing things. I don't have that yet in my preps. So it just makes you think of all the things. I mean, they worked on that man for 15 minutes. I don't know if you've ever worked on somebody for even 2 minutes. It is the most exhausting thing you will ever do in your life, right? It takes multiple people, right? Very hard for one person to do and administer CPR for 15 minutes straight. That's difficult. And maybe my nurses and doctors can help me out in the comments with that. That's hard, okay? And so you have to know what you're doing. You have to be strong about it. And to do it right, it's exhausting, right? And just another reason to be healthy and to be fit, right? But to have that knowledge, because you could save somebody's life having lunch out in town, right? It's like the Heimlich. So my another thing to get prepared is make sure that you're up on game. Make sure you know about the Heimlich. Make sure you know how to do CPR. Make sure that you're saving towards some of these more expensive preps and maybe getting an AED or getting these breathing type extras in your preps, and really take moments where you learn stuff and take that moment and think of all the things that they might have used and get that into your preps. We pray for this young man. He's so young. He has his whole life ahead of him. And I pray, if you Googled, because of course, maybe I'm an a-hole, right? Maybe I'm an a-hole. I Googled, was this young man, vaccinated? I'm an a-hole like that, I guess. Take it for whatever it is, because this is me, right? But this is the way my brain thinks. And unfortunately for this young man, that's how I thought. And of course, it was all this far right is fake news, spreading fake news. Immediately we're saying it's because he was vaccinated. Like, there's just all this stuff about far right trolls. Well, guess what? I'm not far right. I'm just a mom who's concerned, that watches news like everybody else, and is concerned and watching what is going on. What is going on, right? This is some of the stuff, because I have so much more thought process when it comes to this. But this is the type of stuff that I'm going to be talking about more on my Patreon once I get it set up. I'm going to do some research. I'm going to figure out, and I'm going to make myself just push the button on that and get going, because there's so many topics and things that I find myself wanting to discuss in my way and not being held back by the platform that I'm on. I enjoy being on this platform, but there's some stuff I just can't discuss here. And I can't truly tell you how I feel about certain things on this platform, unfortunately. And so I think just even what is happening right now and the discussions me and hubby had this morning is just really pushing me that I've got to get this other platform going, so I can get this stuff off my chest, because I have to be able to talk to like-minded people and share with people my thoughts about what's going on with different things in life. So I hope you guys are well. I hope if you're still watching that, even though this is more of a discussion, there's more of my opinion, there's more of my just what's going on and how I see things. But hopefully there's snippets in there that got your own mind thinking about things to help you and your family towards preparedness. You know, I don't like being put in a box. I don't like being, oh, this is the channel where she does canning, or this is the channel where she gives lists, right? That's not real life. Real life is that it's a ton of different things happening all around us. And what do we decide to talk about? And this is the type of stuff that we as a people need to talk about more. But there's a lot of censorship. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of, you know, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist because how dare you even bring that up, right? Or you're evil. How can you even, in a moment like this man's fighting for his life, how could you then bring up the whole vax, not vax thing, right? And I understand that. And I understand that if there's some people that are upset with me bringing that into the dialogue, but somebody has to. Somebody has to, right? I went back and forth whether to even talk about this today. Like, they don't care about this stuff. But I care about this, and it's my channel. So I felt the need to talk about it. Hopefully somebody out there got something from it, got an idea, a thought, anything from it. So I hope you guys stay well, be kind, do everything in love, and I'll see you guys tomorrow in the next video. Take care. Bye.